Message to the world in its three phases. This message was given to famous contactee Enrique Castillo Rincon and was dictated by Krishnamurk from the Pleiades, scientist and liaison officer on Earth, member of the Great Solar Cosmic Brotherhood. If you want to know this fascinating story of Enrique Castillo Rincon, you have to read the book he has, and also it's on Ancient Aliens too, on my favorite TV show. I'm going to put a little part where he was on, which is episode 7, season 13.
But if extraterrestrials from the Pleiades have returned to Earth after a long absence, why now? Perhaps further clues can be found by examining details from an alleged alien abduction event half a world away. Bogota, Colombia, November 3rd, 1973. Engineer Enrique Castillo Rincon is at home when a strange voice invades his mind. According to Rincon, this telepathic communication is from a cosmic being whose origin lies 400 light-years away in the Pleiades. Rincon is instructed to visit a specific lake where physical contact would be made. Once there, he claims to have been taken aboard a Pleiadian spacecraft.
Enrique Castillo Rincon began having experiences with these Pleiadian star visitors. He says that he was chosen by the Pleiadians to be an ambassador, where he would actually be given a lot of information, the history of Pleiadian interaction with humanity and our true history as a species, and how the Pleiadians have been interacting with us for many millennia.
Some of the messages Rincon receives talk of great changes coming in the near future, including an imminent Third World War. You can imagine that this sort of information would be of great concern to the authorities. Indeed, after one of his public appearances, Rincon claims that government agents took him to Washington, D.C., where top-level officials interrogated him.
What made Rincon's case fascinating was that documentation subsequently has come out substantiating that the CIA did actually bring him to the United States for a debriefing.
Since 1973, other contactees have come forward professing to have been given similar information by beings from the Pleiades. Ancient astronaut theorists speculate that this increase in contact and the recent appearance of Oumuamua may indicate that they are preparing humanity for their return.
And I agree, that Oumuamua is a spacecraft from the Pleiades, without a doubt. We're going to continue with the message to the world that Krishnamurk gave in its three phases. To all the inhabitants of the planet called Earth, to all my beloved brothers, wherever they origin, color, or social condition, to all those who cannot yet listen to or understand the voice of eternal truth, we announce to you a better world where a new mind will prevail and take you to the true spiritual love, where you will live in the true science of the spirit, light, La. For the children of the planet, where all the opponents of the great cosmic plan should be vanquished, and the supreme harmony or greater absolute law will be the daily bread for all men. Most beloved brothers, you will have a clear mind and a great decision to make about this knowledge that is given to you. You will know how to make the right decisions with great wisdom in the face of the contrary forces that have been unchanged against this plan. The mere fact of bringing you here has already implied the presence of a great counter-movement to establish negative forces with the intention of making us fail, of rejecting or not heeding to the true and elevated teachings that give birth to the highest and secret elevation, the elevation of the spirit. If you work with love, the opposition is condemned to defeat. If you follow the good behavior commandments, you will be protected. If you stand by the truth, yours is the victory and the compensation of living in a better world. All the secret principles that have been given to man since his pre-existence must stay with him, and you and the men of goodwill and clear conscience will fight for them with the weapons of truth and justice. Be aware of the protection given to you by the universal force of love, dispensed only by the great solar logos and members of the planetary hierarchies. Become, then, planters of good seed. Prepare you, brothers, administrating patiently and wisely the information. Prepare them in groups or individually, according to your best judgment, and rifle discrimination. Disseminate the seeds. Look for good soil, but if it does not exist, go to the countryside and talk to the workers. Search for those who want to listen and go wherever you are called. Do not look at their clothing or dwellings. Pay attention only to their wish to learn and deliver the information without adding or removing anything. With a didactic criteria, may the firm wish to propagate the truth embrace you, and for this purpose, brace yourselves and deliver only what has given you. And if you give more, make sure it is with a genuine wish to spread in a more ample range the truth only. Phase 1. In 1958, the U.S. Air Force admitted that the Strategic Air Command bombers have been hurled more than once against Russia. When the defense radar detected mysterious objects which have never been identified and which flew in apparent formation. It was proven that the attacks were not justified, but the danger is even worse at the present time. This information from the U.S. Air Force makes it clear that nuclear war can start accident or error through confusion of our ships with rockets from a foreign power against the U.S. Positively know that our ships can initiate a war when detected by the radar network due to the degree of tension and fear between the different countries. Countermeasures have already been taken, both on the part of our ships and the governments of the countries who study the presence of our fleets of spaceships. This phase is not difficult to explain and even less to understand. The important aspect is that our ships are systematically making cautious appearances in the airspaces above all nations, especially those whose technologically, military, and technical advancements are such that they are bound to observe us. We have done this for a long time to create a clear indication of our presence among you. The recklessness of the governments of two terrestrial countries has been obvious when they have ordered their combat pilots to attack our space and scout ships as soon as they are detected in their radar. This is highly dangerous for the crew members of your airplanes, because if they approach our gravitational field, their engines and controls become inoperative. In this way, several have lost their lives because of extreme stubbornness and stupidity. They do not seem to understand that our orders are clear not to harm their craft. Otherwise, at least 50 other planes will have been destroyed. We are aware that many high-ranking military personnel and scientists have been silenced under the pretense of endangering the security of their countries if public statements were to be made. This is another serious mistake of those governments. If we have any ambition of desire to conquer this planet, we would have done it 300 years ago, when the population could not have opposed any resistance. Even now, it will be not difficult to do. This phase is alternative. We shall continue making appearances, landings, contacts, all over the world more and more frequently as planned. You will be responsible for the education of the people in different countries. This preparation and divulgation can be carried out using all means available: radio, TV, press, conference meetings, individual and group talks, pamphlets, etc. This is a difficult task because you will be left to your own means and time. Besides, you will have against you those who do not take this seriously and the dark machinations of the great established powers of your planet, hampering, creating doubts, and attacking you as promoters of this knowledge. In many instances, they will use the weak of mind and spirit, opposing that which has been established. This will be the most powerful weapon of the enemies of the great purposes of the planetary hierarchies for the evolutionary development of your planet. You must know well these men. They are unconscious instruments of those powerful organizations which take advantage of their weak minds to spread false rumors and postulates that cause only confusion and uncertainty. Stay alert. Know them with your wise judgment. Do not permit that wrongful doctrinarian winds carry you away from the elevation of the mind and spirit, where the supreme true and only source of knowledge guides men towards equity, rectitude, and justice, sheltered by the universal government of love, in which all men, I am talking about universal men, receive for their own evolution this absolute vibration to achieve the peace and justice that already prevails in other worlds and which must trump with your help on your planet. Help for the Planet Phase 2. When the conclusion was reached after many years of observation and analysis of your world, that inhabitants should have assistance in order to advance in the cosmic evolutionary scale, there was a moment when, according to the available information, a final conclusion was reached after seeing the ferocity with which men continuously wage war, how they mercilessly ignited cities with incendiary bombs, how they destroy and torture men, women, and children, how the governments and spiritual leaders show no concern and witness the starvation of children, both during peacetime and during wartime. The conclusion was that humankind, with a few exceptions, were a barbarian horde, sanguinary and bloodthirsty from the deepest level of their spirit, and utterly incorrigible. Nevertheless, because of the merit of a few, it was favored with assistance to combat effectively the unscrupulous seekers of riches and power who, sheltered by the same forces already mentioned, took unfair advantage and plunged other men and their own brothers into extremes of chaos and violence. We are aware of the enemy's strength. We know when and with what weapons it fights. At this time, the circle is closing around it. The enemy knows it. And in this desperation to survive, it will take Earth's inhabitants to a final showdown along with the standard bearers, whole peoples and tribes to their self-destruction. Phase 3. This phase involves direct help to many men, instructing them. It requires, in many cases, their evacuation from this planet to a special place where they will be provided with a new conscience to be transmitted afterwards to their fellow men on Earth. These men, on account of their values and courage, are elected to help the world through this great task. The disappearances of such people from Earth have already begun. With your help in this new dawn, surely many will glimpse this future world and become very important factors of this struggle, where the two forces are facing each other. All those who have been instructed in the beginning stages will be given frequent telepathic instructions. We will seek these people earnestly. In many cases, personal contacts will be required. There will be dimensional projections and they will receive the strength and spiritual assistance. These procedures hold the key to the future of your planet. your brother Krishnamerk, scientist from the Pleiades, member of the Great Solar Cosmic Brotherhood. This message is finished, but I invite you, if you're interested, read more about it. It has a lot of prophecies too. I have a video about the 9 times that will change the world. That is a prophecy for humankind, and it's written for everybody. This video I make a while ago. I speaking kind of funny, but it's important. The information is very important. Called the 9 times that will change the world is a prophecy given to Enrique Castillo Rincon from extraterrestrials from the Pleiades. Enrique Castillo Rincon, who was taken inside a Pleiadian spacecraft and was given very important information about the upcoming Third World War. This information is in some of the pages of the book that I will be reading about it. As it reads as follows. We are here because we know about the calamities that will overrun planet Earth. One of them, the Third World War, is not far away. We know the date, but we cannot interfere. It will be against what you call free will. You must learn to live in peace and harmony, but you have to do it by yourselves. That implies gaining a new level of conscience. A Third World War is inevitable. Men will have a 4-year grace period to attempt to attenuate it in accordance with their mental behavior. Only the mental state of mankind can ease its effects. It is squarely your problem. Page 67 from the contact from the book. The Great War will proceed by a shorter one, which will leave open wounds for the big one. At first, no nuclear weapons will be used. All will happen while peace talks are underway, and a beginning of agreement will be found. But there will be a traitor. A small, unimportant conflict, perhaps in the East, will become uncontrollable and will fire a detonator involving the so-called big powers. Politicians and governments will not think about the consequences derived from their intransigence and little contact with the reality of facts. In here, Enrique Castillo asked Krishnamerk, the Pleiadian commander, and how should we prepare? There will be a period of grace for humanity. It is the time corresponding to your own chronology. You have a long period of time in error. This somehow has served to protect the prophecies, making them difficult to place in time. These years will serve to attenuate the conflict and help some be better prepared. Pay much attention to the environmental changes, the ozone layer, the weakness of your leaders and their lack of credibility, the loss of religious values which they religious claim to have, the growth of crime and the lack of countermeasures against it. No government on earth will be able to win the battle against crime and insecurity. This will be obvious. After the war, there will be remnants. At these places, thousands of people will survive the effects not only of radiation, but other parallel hazards. Thus, humanity, with its power and dominant zeal, will cause much destruction, and a change of the Earth's rotation axis. Climate changes will occur in many countries, making life difficult. Unfortunately, the more alert spirits who will detect the upcoming preliminary changes will not be believed. To the contrary, they will be ridiculed. An incident will take place in the Orient that will have resonance at the diplomatic level, then extended to Europe and then Asia. It is quite possible that this could be avoided thanks to the good judgment of two Latin men. This probably will take place when safer peace treaties are signed, and men will feel safer and protected. One of the signals for identification of these times will be when several Latin American countries will be almost bankrupt and dare to protest. The world moneylenders will take advantage of them mercilessly and will force their conditions upon them. This will not take many years. Absolutely all the political and religious organizations will collapse. From the book UFOs, A Great New Dawn for Humanity by Enrique Castillo Rincon from Our Cosmic Friends, who is also featured on my ultimate favorite program, Ancient Aliens on History Channel. His episode was on Ancient Aliens Season 13, Episode 7 of the show Ancient Aliens. So if you can watch it so you can see it for yourself. As I was saying about Enrique Castillo Rincon and his famous contact from people from the Pleiades who meet face to face with Enrique Castillo Rincon to deliver information regarding the Third World War, as well as the big earth changes that every human being will have to face, regardless of frequency. So it's not to be on fear, but to be aware and prepared, as we need to follow the signs, as is a navigation map for the future. As you can see and read it for yourself in the book that is called in English A Great New Dawn for Humanity. Check it out. Also make sure you are aware of the time 6, the sixth time, because that's the time we are currently in at the moment. So please pay attention and listen carefully, since these messages are from star people from the Pleiades. So thank you for listening, watching. Please like and subscribe. This video is not monetized, so feel free to do so, and comment too if you want. Thank you so much, and bye.